you're no longer limited by your geography. You can literally start a business and serve the region, the globe, from the comfort of your home.
Welcome, Truth Seekers. This is Crystal, and welcome again to the Unspoken Truth with DGY Academy.
And I'm Samantha. We are here to fuel your curiosities. Dive with us as we uncover the unspoken truth of people from different walks of life.
Hi, Sam. Kamusta ka today?
Hi, Miss Christelle. Hoping that you're safe and healthy. Despite the quarantine, I'm still enthusiastic to hear motivating unspoken stories coming from our guests, and I can't wait to meet a new one today.
Well, alam mo, ako din sobra. Like, sabi ko, oh my gosh, this is gonna be a great episode again. But, moving forward, siguro, I am very excited to know more about him and how to start the business also in the future. So, let me introduce our guest now. He is the senior manager of Wemu Incorporated, and he also founded Capua Studio Incorporated, a creating agency specialized in content marketing and customer engagement. Magandang araw po, Sir Marco Katigbak. Welcome to the show po.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much.
Ayan. Good afternoon po, Sir Marco. Ayun, gusto ko lang din po sana kayong kamustahin kasi having that said that you're into the business field, if I may ask, what were your major adjustments in totality due to this health crisis that we're currently experiencing?
Oh wow. Well, I mean, I guess everyone's in the same boat here, where adjusting to virtual life, working from home, meetings like this, engaging with customers just like this. I've adjusted quite well. I've maybe because I'm still slightly introverted. I've enjoyed the home time, the no, don't have to worry about the traffic. The downside is, and we're facing this in two sides. A lot of small businesses got impacted by the pandemic. So if they were looking at 2020 to be their year of growth, the chances are that they hit a brick wall and were really challenged by the situation. They may have adapted by going online and selling their products online, but if they had a physical location, wow, it was really a tough year. Going into 2021, second year of the pandemic, there's a lot more optimism, even if there's still no sight of an end. I'm seeing a lot of movement, a lot of new entrepreneurs coming into the arena, and taking their chances from wherever they came from. They may have come from the corporate life and took the opportunity to there's just there's you know where the reason to start something new was given to you, because of a job, losing your job or losing your business. um, a lot of them are taking that opportunity, and that's why it's exciting times still, despite the challenges that we face as a country.
I would just like to ponder on what you've mentioned a while ago about the birth of online businesses, online companies, online enterprises. If there's one thing that you can, there's a piece of advice that you can share to them, what would it be?
Well, for specifically online.
Yes, sir.
Well, I mean, there's there's I guess there's a couple ways to look at it. Online businesses are one of the easiest things to get. Like the barrier to entry is really low, so there's so many ways that you can start a business online. And I'm a fan of figuring that out. So I enjoy stories of different entrepreneurs, and my work for the last I don't know 5 years and so have been about working with different entrepreneurs. So the online space is a really exciting environment. Uh, the for Filipinos, the number one thing you can look at now is you're no longer limited by your geography. You can literally start a business and serve the region, the globe, from the comfort of your home. So if you have a skill, a talent, something that you're good at, and you don't have to be the best at it. That's the great thing. You just have to be better than the average person. You can quickly put that service online, and start generating your own income instead of being reliant on a salary or a company to provide that living for you. You can go out and get it yourself. Same goes with products. With the growth of e-commerce and the infrastructure to serve the region and globally, it's become so much easier now to make a product and ship it anywhere. I was talking to an entrepreneur recently who manufactures their own products, and their biggest market is the U.S. So we're no longer limited. And the great thing is these countries are looking for these unique products. So really, uh, the if you were hesitant about online because the Philippines was, as a society, we weren't that quick to make online buying our habit. You That's no longer the case, and you can take advantage of not just the local growth of e-commerce, but you can take advantage of the global growth of e-commerce. And there's so many platforms you can use. There's so much infrastructure that's already been provided for you, built out by the guys that are ahead of us. They're the ones that they paved the road to make it easy for small businesses to make it happen for themselves.
Wow. Thank you for that, sir. Thank you for sharing that. That's actually to take in. But I just wanted to ask lang po, like, during the introduction a while ago, you were the one of the managers at Wemu. Like, we wanted to know, like, what lead you to start opening that company, and why does the name is like that? I mean, where
Hmm.
does it come from?
So I'm not one of the founders of Wemu. I met the owner, the founder of Wemu. His name is Jeff Fernandez. I met him while I was with when I had the Kappa studio. So um, I can make this a long story, but it kind of goes back into the business I had prior to Kapwa, which is a retail concept called Felipe and Sons. Uh, we built a business where we were working with people with talent, barbers, right? And it was a hybrid concept. So we had retail products. So we were working with a lot of entrepreneurs that were selling products. We also envisioned to do more of that ourselves. We ambition to do e-commerce, but the one thing I took away from that experience was the idea that anybody with the ability to create something or do something with their skill, like a barber, for example, that's a really difficult skill to have, even if it's not as I think for me it's been undervalued for too long because it's a skill that takes a lot of years and investment into tools and equipment to develop. But my realization was that any human with a skill, a talent, or something that aside from all the other stuff, you can create a business out of that. and you instead of pursuing employment, you can ride employment into pursuing entrepreneurship, right? So my vision or my mission from then on became to nurture more of that, looking for individuals uh, that had that desire and the skill, the passion, to do something, to create something, and help them grow into their business. And that's where Kappa Studio came in as a collaborative co-working environment for creatives, right? So we were working with hairstylists, makeup artists, and we grew from there. So we looked at what I considered alternative arts, so graphic design, photography, videography, because as a co-working space for creatives, you can you can get clients as your own individual. So we help them develop their personas, go online, utilize social media to find clients individually by working together, creating content that showcase their talent. So that became their calling card, right? So we would get commercial jobs for them. Some of them, after Kappa, would open their own business, and that was that's the vision. Even before that, I would tell the people I would work with is, you working with us now is temporary. If you have the ability to take your skill and do more on your own, we will, that's what we want to you to do. And that's what we were doing with Capo, is to nurture more people to take on their skills and develop, you know more, develop their business for themselves. It's the idea was basically rooted on social equality. So the best way to address social equality is actually not the best, but one of the ways is entrepreneurship, because within entrepreneurship you have control of your financials. Of course, there's the pitfalls and whatnot, but you have it gives you the most the best chances of mobility. And interestingly enough, through my learnings, the context of mobility in this way actually is translated to kalayaan, which means also freedom, right? So entrepreneurship is freedom. um, and so that really drove my mission moving forward. So when I met Jeff, and I used one of his products at my studio, which is a booking app. When I met him and he told me about his mission with Wemu, uh, I was a little bit shocked that it really matched my mission, which is to help entrepreneurs. So WeMu stands for We Must Create, or we must create, we must build, we must do something. Basically, says we must. And so the platform itself, I moved from the idea that I can. Now I've worked with entrepreneurs and tried to figure out how their operations would work, help them learn the back end, from financials to marketing to sales, eventually hiring and all of the regulatory concerns that you might have as a business owner in the Philippines. And I found that, you know I've always been interested in technology and software. So I found that the ability to create a digital tool, that helps these entrepreneurs achieve what we were teaching them, whether it be selling online or marketing themselves online, how to manage the back end from the financial aspect, to your operations of fulfilling customers' orders, to serving us, to being a service provider and managing that service. Wemu really fit that 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 requirement for a wide range of businesses. From, if you can be a purely digital business, and we have a tool for that. You can be a retail brand, a retail store. We have tools for that. You can be a service provider, like barbers, as the best example. Obviously, it's top of mind, or other consumer service related products, or consumer related businesses, and we have products for that. Even better, if you do all three, we have the capability of servicing that kind of business as well. So Wemu is kind of the way that we scale entrepreneurship much faster.
Grabe.
It's a mouthful.
Yeah. For sharing that, sir.
Yeah.
Grabe. I just wanted to also share kasi yesterday po, we met someone who owns a barber shop din, and parang his legacy was not just to own a business but to also parang tawag dito, share his knowledge to other people on how to make their own business, and a barber shop too. Parang tinuturuan niya din yung mga tao kung paano magupit and all that.
Mm.
So
Who's
it's
that?
kind
Who's that? What's the
it
name?
is Sir Willow Woods po. He
Of
is from
course,
Cebu.
Willow from Cebu. Yes.
Yeah.
I know Willow for sure. He might not remember me because I haven't met him in person, but we've interacted over the years. Yeah.
Yeah, his legacy is sobrang ganda talaga. And I was telling him yesterday, grabe sobrang galing sir kasi meron kasi mga leaders na hindi ko naman nila lahat ano po, pero merong mga leaders na parang madamot sila na
Mm.
okay, I have a business. Ito na yon, ako na yon. Pero ngayon, habang may nakikilala po kami, parang na-amaze ako, oh my gosh, meron din
Yeah.
pala talagang mga
Yeah.
leaders na iniisip nila yung ibang tao, di ba Sam?
Of course, Miss Cristel. And siguro, ang matututunan natin from Sir Marco is that yung business, it's not, an output, like yung passion na meron tayo. It's not, wala siya sa output ng business, but nasa input siya ng kung sino man yung creator or kung sino man yung founder. And ma-observe naman natin na sa businesses na meron ngayon such as enterprises, be it a social enterprise, just the core reason na meron kang passion na tumulong sa ibang tao, na umangat sila kasama mo, parang it's already a success, no? Parang it's not just about gaining profit. Kaya parang nakakatuwa na nagkakaroon tayo ng ganitong interview with people like Sir Marco.
Mm. Well, I mean, that's not a very uncommon thing. That's the beautiful part about this segment. So, Mike, what you can, and within a lot of my readings, it's you can segment them within micro and small businesses, because there's a lot of small businesses that are actually really big, but the unique factor of a true small business is that they're usually and generally very invested in the communities that they serve, right? So whether it be localized communities or the communities like barbers, as example, as a culture, as a community, they're really invested in the development of each other and the communities that they serve, locally as well. So that's the fun aspect of this, working with these type of people.
Siguro sir, quick question lang, having all these said na marami tayong activities and engagements with other people, most especially sa business side, for sure, everything wasn't a piece of cake and hindi siya parang pinresent on a silver platter. Can you share with us any experience wherein parang naisip ninyo na kaya ko pa ba to? Willing pa ba ako na i-push through ito?
Uh-huh.
Meron po bang ganong
Uh,
moment? And if
yeah.
meron po, ano po yung napulot yung lesson na dadalhin ninyo even after like when you retired or finally makakapagpahinga na po kayo?
Right. Wow. Well, I mean, nobody has like that. Everybody has a unique journey, right? So some people are really fortunate, and it's smooth sailing throughout. That's most likely not the case. So mine has been, it's been a cycle, a lot of different changes. So the the first thing I the first experience of starting a small business for me was actually really hard. It was very stressful. So coming from a corporate background, you get really comfortable with status quo, structures, budgets that are huge, and you don't. It's not your money, so you're not really worried about it. You don't understand. It's a different kind of stress because it's a stress of accountability versus the stress of capital accountability. People, money, your family rides on you, relies on you. your reputation. A lot of that is comes into play in a different degree versus working for a company. So the first thing that I had to learn was to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. That's not my quote. I got that from somebody else, but it really stuck with me because and you can use this from whether you're an entrepreneur or not, but but even more so when you're an entrepreneur because it's easy to second guess yourself. So there's an image that's always stuck in my mind of somebody isolated on a raft, entrepreneurs isolated on a raft, because that's really what it feels like. You really feel alone. So it's really hard on it can be hard on you mentally. That said, my second go at it was a lot more smoother, and it was a dream come true. It 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 just clicked all the way for the first 3 years, and then challenges happened. So the second thing is relationships with not just the partners that you have in your business, but relationships with the people you work with, relationships with your family. And entrepreneurship affects all of that because you don't when you clock out in a corporate job, you tend to you there's a good chance that you just clock out and then you focus on your personal life. Entrepreneurship is a 24-hour, it's not a 24-hour, it's not just a 24-hour job. It's a 24-hour job because when you're off, you're still thinking. When you're not in the business, you're still thinking because you're dreaming, what can I do, what can I do different? If something's not working, what can I do? If it is working, you celebrate a little bit, but you're still thinking, how can I make it even better? So relationships is a big factor of it. And the one thing I've learned about relationships is you have to learn how to have the difficult conversations with people and not be ashamed of it, right? You just have to approach it as calmly as possible and have those difficult conversations, whether it be with your partners, or God forbid, your customers. Being finding that confidence, and knowledge, and knowing that it's necessary. It's a necessary battle to have, and you come across it better if you have that. That's a key skill to have. Um, in my third go at it, it was a disaster. So in my third go at it, this is where you find spirituality, and that's that I would say would be something that you should automatically go to at the lowest of your lowest. Um, I found prayer, and I'm not a highly religious person. I admit, my mom's disappointed about that. But I found prayer. I found meditation. So during the early stages of it, you really feel the weight of your your downturn. And when those situations happen, it's easy to give up. It's easy to feel bad about yourself. But you have to you have to keep it in your mind that you can only do that for so long. Otherwise, it starts to impact everything else. So the goal there and the mindset is to hit it, but know that the human being is so capable of so many things. So quickly go and find that source of comfort, whether it be prayer, whether it be meditation. Meditation is my favorite thing now, actually. So anytime I find stress, I feel overwhelmed, the first thing I do is I pop on a YouTube video of meditation, and I have my favorites. I've done my research, and it's amazing. So in my lowest of lowest, it's those two things that I really lean on to take care of myself, because you can't rely on other people. You really have to do it yourself. Um, and that's pretty. I would say that would be that would be the key there. Mm.
Alam mo, few things lang na nakuha ko sa sinabi ni Sir Marco na naka-relate ako talaga. My friends and I used to have a business kasi, like an online shop, sir. And then we sell pastries and all that. Tapos parang there would be like a time, parang there was a time na meron talagang mga taong magpo-push down sa'yo. Like, bakit mo ba yan ginagawa? Hindi naman yan lalago or whatever. So, I think tama yung sinabi ni Sir. Parang yung relationship mo with other people, 'di ba? You have to build it strong, pero sometimes you cannot really parang cannot always depend on the people, especially your friends. I think meron yung quote na parang habang nagsisimula ka pa lang, hindi ka nila pag nagsisimula ka pa lang, hindi ka nila tawag dito, susuportahan. Pero
Mm.
once na naging big time ka na, that's the time na they will congratulate you and
Mhm.
support what you were doing, 'di ba, Sam?
Mhm.
Yes, Miss Cristel. And siguro ako naman on my end, siguro ang tumatak naman sa akin is that, humans are really capable, but also rational at the same time. Pero, yun nga, having that said, hindi naman tayo, like robots na 100% productive. At times, no, we tend to be tired and, experience burnout. And, that's natural. That's already part of the process. Pero yun nga siguro, most especially in this time of the pandemic na marami tayong iniisip, for sure, anxious tayo sa lahat ng mga bagay in terms of ano yung mangyayari bukas, ano yung kakainin natin ngayon, ano yung gagastusin natin, paying the bills and all. Pero yun nga, sana maging reminded din tayo of, the idea of rest, and dapat sana hindi natin siya sinasabi lang, pero like sinasabuhay talaga natin. And yun, katulad ng ginagawa ni Sir Marco, which is, yun nga, meditation. Actually, I'm trying to, follow the meditation na parang videos na nakikita ko on YouTube. Pero it's a long way to go. And, the mere fact na nakapagsimula ako, magandang step na yon para magtuloy-tuloy na, and at the same time, ma-attain ko rin yung peace of mind within me. So, thank you for that, Sir Marco. And
Mm.
siguro ako, follow-up question lang din po, siguro quickly lang bago magtanong si Miss Cristel. I would just like to ask, kasi kanina po nabanggit ninyo yung about sa more on the finance side, that yun nga, at parang entrepreneurship is, a 24-hour thing. Marami po kayong iniisip, kahit nakahiga na kayo, nakapikit na yung mata ninyo, may mga bagay kayo na kino-consider. I would just like to ask, dahil nasa business sector din po kayo, ano po yung isang parang financial wellness tip or parang learning na ini-imbibe or ina-uphold ninyo up to this day?
Mm. Um, I would say this is a pretty common saying, but when it comes to, especially depending on the size of your business, for most small business, the most important thing that you should focus on is your cash flow. That's the income statements, profit and loss, all that. That's important, but that's not as important as cash flow. So whatever, it always boils down to that. And that's I would say that it's the easiest thing that you can manage, because it's as simple as looking at how much money you have to spend every month and how much money you're going to make. And it tells you what you can invest in to grow. It can tell you what new features that you want to spend on, uh, or it can help you plan for the year, right? If your cash flow is always hitting red on a regular basis, that means you have to figure out your sales first, or your growth first. The second thing is, again, probably a really common advice. Don't rush to scale, because if you haven't figured out your cash flow yet, if you haven't put away the money, and you haven't figured out your operations, the moment you scale, all of those holes will show really fast, and more so it'll impact everything, your financial side, the financial side of your business. Avoid borrowing, even if it's even if it's tempting. I would avoid borrowing unless I know it's going to return right away. In other words, if I'm going to borrow for inventory and I know that inventory is going to sell right away because because people are already buying my products, I can't afford to keep up with demand. I borrow for that. That's okay, but to borrow to scale is a little bit scary. Some people will say that it's cheaper to borrow money than it is to sell equity. Um, I'm maybe I'm more on the cautious side nowadays. I I I I look at businesses that I can scale with lower capital, which is why online businesses is really where I'm focused on right now, because you can an online business, even if it's a physical location that you have, but you're focusing your growth on the online features, online selling online. That is a much more that's a better way to grow, in my opinion. Currently, obviously, the pandemic. Um, so yeah, I mean, cash flow is king.
Thank you
Financial is
so
not my That's not my strong point. I know a little bit of it, but it's not my strongest suit.
Thank you so much for
Yeah,
those tips, sir.
yeah.
We are learning a lot so much right now, Sam, right?
Of course, so hindi po ako, the business person kind of thing. Ako mas natututunan ko lalo na in this time of the pandemic na mas i-manage yung finances ko, most especially yung cash flow, kung saan napupunta yung mga naiipon ko in terms of my scholarships and yung allowances. And it's really important na kahit paano may naitatabi tayo kasi we cannot guarantee na at the end of the day meron pa rin tayong makakain or meron pa rin tayong mabibili out of our finances. So, siguro sir, question na lang din po, siguro bago ulit magtanong si Miss Cristel, if that's okay. I'm sorry if I have a lot of questions.
No, that's
Um,
okay.
Siguro po sir, since for sure po ba before po kayo mag-step into the business sector, meron po bang time na naisip ninyo na baka pwede po kayo sa ibang path or sa ibang profession, sa ibang career? Kasi for some business persons that I know po in my peer, in my network, hindi sila originally hindi sila originally set dun sa notion na, okay, I'm gonna be a businessman, I'm gonna build a business to help other people. Kasi some of them, to be honest, they want to be a doctor, they want to be a lawyer. The usual Filipino culture na kapag
Professional.
abogado ka, kapag doktor ka,
Mm.
siguradong aasenso ka. So, for some of our listeners and some of our audiences na nagkakaroon ng ganitong klaseng parang uh, mindset na nagdadalawang isip sila if they should go or venture into business, meron po ba kayong din maibabahagi sa kanila?
I don't know if I'm the right person to ask because I've never I guess I came from corporate, so I when I graduated college, I had that mindset: graduate college, get a job, climb up the ladder, get married, have the kids, very structured. But during that process of pursuing that, I always wanted to do my own business. I always wanted to create something, build something, work with people. I wanted to control the culture that I work in, right? Because when you join a company or when you work with someone, you assimilate to their culture, whatever culture that brand or business has. That's for you to, that's for you to figure out. I mean, that's for you to see if that's the right fit for you to grow. But I wanted to be that place where I wanted to be I wanted to be the builder of culture in business. So I don't I've never pursued a professional and a career. My wife is, and I would say that if it's something that you wake up and love to learn and do, um, that's still being an entrepreneur. That's still being your business. Even if you go down the path of a corporate life, you can still embody entrepreneurship. There's a say there's a term for it, entrepreneurship, and they value that. So entrepreneurship itself isn't just about starting your own business. Really, um, it's in a way it's where the definition of entrepreneurship is creating value from the sources that you have, basically, in paraphrase, right? I can't remember it specifically. Um, so regardless of where you are, you can practice that same approach, and that even helps you wherever you are. So I always believe in um, figuring out what you enjoy doing, because if as long as you wake up and like it, and you can look in the mirror and like who you've become, you don't have to start your own business to be an entrepreneur. um, you know but yeah, if you're chasing law, if you're chasing uh, the professional um, fields, again, as long as you love to learn, you love to studying, you uh, go for it, and make something of it. There's a lot of professionals that use that strength that they've developed in their careers to go into entrepreneurship after they've built their profession. They become even stronger. Accountants make some of the best entrepreneurs because they understand the numbers. Yeah.
Yes, totoo yun, totoo yun. Grabe. Um, Siguro, sir, just to wrap up the entire episode, I also want to ask you, like, how does it feel being a founder or a co-founder of a business? And if this is something that you really wanted to happen, like, is this something na gustong-gusto mo ba talaga mangyari when you were a child? And if
Mm.
not, what would be your message for your younger self and for the future generations who wanted to take the same path as yours?
Um, when I was younger, no, I wanted to be an architect actually, but I was like really young, and then I learned that I had to study a certain subjects that as a kid, you get scared of these things, right? You get scared of what you don't know, so if you tend if you let that back you out, then you don't pursue it. But um, no, as I the time that I realized that I wanted to do something more on my own was the moment that I started working. The moment that I started working, and I realized that one of my biggest pain points was when I getting into work was I get a job, they give me my job description, but I want to do more. I didn't want to just focus on what I was doing. So I'd always ask, can I get involved with this project, that project? And depending on the company you work for, depending on how big they are, the bigger they are, the chances of you getting that opportunity is very slim. The smaller the company you get at, the more opportunity that you have to try a variety of skills. So at a young age, I really wanted to grow myself. I wanted to learn a lot of different things. So that's when the idea that I want to start something new. I want to start something on my own. I look at my friends and see who would be interested in joining me. And it took my cousin who has been a seasoned entrepreneur to bring me under his wing to learn from him how to 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 make something out of nothing, because that's the I guess that's that not knowing is the hardest part about entrepreneurship, or doing something on your own, creating something from nothing, is where to start. Fortunately, we got YouTube. We have all these resources now that help to teach or give you an idea about how to go about it. The tricky part is there's a lot of junk around the gems of knowledge that you need to figure out and trust, because there's people making money teaching how to do business, and there's a lot of them, so you have to find the right places, the right people to learn from, number one. And you guys are doing a great job, of doing that, with the series. um, and we're doing the same thing, at WeMu. We have a We Must Create webinar series that is designed to help entrepreneurs with certain different aspects of being an entrepreneur as well, focusing on, the creators and makers and brand builders of the Philippines. So my advice to myself would, my younger self, my son, I'm preparing my advice for him already, is, well, you know growing up, uh, immigrant parents, they tell me to find something and stick with it. But my advice would be reverse. Try everything and find what you enjoy doing, because, you know in my generation, there weren't as many opportunities, in terms of industries. There's so many industries now that weren't around when I was growing up. The arts, the design. It's just it's such a an interesting, industry that careers are built out of, businesses are built out of. So I would get my son involved with as many areas of interest that he finds or that he's driven by, uh, and look at the ones that stick, and not discourage him by the idea that you're always hopping around. When you're young, even if you're just fresh out of college, you should be hopping around, because that's you haven't even if you feel like you've figured it out, you may be following somebody else's path. So it's important that you're following your own, and figuring that out is by trying, failing, and the time that you fail and you still keep on going because you're driven by it, that means that you enjoy it. So go after that, and you're gonna find a career or the business that you want to develop from it. You know, don't force it. Let it happen.
Grabe, na-overwhelmed ako.
Yeah.
Sana lahat ng parents ganun yung iniisip. Thank you for that wonderful message, Sir Marco. I think that is all for this episode. Thank you so much for accepting our invite. We know how busy you are, but thank you for making time. But before we end, we wanted also to ask, where can our listeners find you po and your businesses?
Well, you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm there. I'm trying to be more active on social media, but I can definitely improve on that. Check us out at wemu.io. Especially if you're looking at growing a small business. We have um, uh, we have a platform that is built for startups all the way to the point that you start to scale. So, yeah, or you can email me at, Marco, msk@wemu.co.
All right, thank you so much. So that's it for our episode today, Sam. I hope you all guys were able to learn something from this episode. Ako, sobrang dami ko natutunan. Ikaw ba, Sam?
Ako sobrang hindi po ako ganito magtatanong ng masyadong marami kung hindi po ako sobrang curious. So thank you so much for that, Sir Marco. It's an honor to have an interview with you po.
I
Yes.
appreciate the time. I definitely appreciate the time, and the opportunity to speak about this. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. So yeah, that's it for this episode. And I know our truth seekers are looking forward to the upcoming guests that we will be having in the program. Believe me, we're also sharing the same enthusiasm that you are feeling right now, right?
So this has been DGY Academy. To know more about our future guests and events, follow us on our Facebook page, DGY Academy, and Instagram at the Gohoy Academy. Fuel your curiosities, be motivated daily.